What if an army of giants was hidden right beneath our feet for nearly 3,000 years? And I'm not talking about myth or legend. I'm talking about giants carved from solid stone. In a remote valley in Cyprus, archaeologists have just struck limestone gold. They've unearthed a lost temple, and with it, evidence of an army of forgotten giants. These statues and the rare inscriptions found with them aren't just rewriting a chapter of history. They're revealing the secrets of a mysterious ancient cult that was far more powerful than we ever imagined. Our story kicks off in a quiet, sun-drenched valley in the heart of Cyprus, at a place called Frangissa, near the ancient city kingdom of Tamassos. Now, this isn't the first time this sanctuary has been discovered. Way back in 1885, a German archaeologist named Max Richter stumbled upon one of the most spectacular finds of his career. He unearthed a rural sanctuary dedicated to the god Apollo, and it was filled with an incredible collection of hundreds of statues, many of them colossal. It was the kind of discovery that should have made headlines for decades. But then, something strange happened. To protect the site from looters and the weather, Richter made a fateful decision. He completely reburied it. He covered the walls, the statue bases, and everything else, hoping to keep it safe for the future. The problem? His records were messy, his maps weren't great, and just like that, the Sanctuary of Giants vanished. For nearly 140 years, it was lost to time, becoming a sort of ghost story in the world of archaeology. The central mystery lingered for over a century. Where was the lost sanctuary of Apollo? And what secrets were its buried walls still holding? For generations, the exact location of the Frangissa sanctuary was one of Cypriot archaeology's most tantalizing questions. The treasures that Richter did manage to get out were scattered across the globe, ending up in museums from Canada to Ireland and Cyprus itself. These statues, stone-faced warriors, horsemen, and figures of Apollo, were silent witnesses to a place that nobody could find. The Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto and the Cyprus Museum in Nicosia housed these orphaned artifacts, magnificent pieces of art totally disconnected from where they came from. Can you imagine being a curator, looking at a stunning life-size statue, knowing it was just one of hundreds from a grand sacred complex, but having no earthly idea where that complex was? The archaeologist's decision to rebury the site, while well-intentioned, had accidentally created an archaeological cold case. The Valley of Frangissa kept its secrets, and the army of stone giants slept on, undisturbed. The world of archaeology had all these amazing clues, but no crime scene. The silence stretched on for almost 140 years, and it really seemed like Apollo's temple was lost for good. Then, in 2021, the silence was finally broken. A new team of German archaeologists from the universities of Frankfurt, Kiel, and Würzburg decided it was time to solve this thing. Armed with modern tech and a whole lot of grit, they returned to the Frangissa Valley, ready to crack the 140-year-old mystery. This wasn't just looking for a needle in a haystack. This was like searching for a haystack that someone had deliberately hidden. The team, led by Matthias Recke and Philip Kobusch, didn't just start digging. They were smarter than that. They used geophysical surveys to peer beneath the soil, looking for the ghostly outlines of buried walls. They pored over Richter's old, vague notes, trying to match his descriptions with the modern landscape. Finally, in 2023, they got their first hit. With two small, carefully placed exploratory trenches, they struck stone. It was a wall from the sanctuary. They had found it. With the location confirmed, the 2024 excavation season kicked off on a massive scale. The team began peeling back the layers of earth that had been replaced over a century ago. What they found was staggering. The walls of a huge courtyard emerged from the dirt, and then they started appearing, statue base after statue base, more than 100 of them, many of them absolutely massive. The lost sanctuary of Apollo wasn't just found, it was largely intact, just as it had been left. The army of giants was finally ready to see the sun again. The 19th century dig was a bit of a rush job, a treasure hunt focused on grabbing the big, impressive finds. The 21st century rediscovery, however, is a meticulous scientific investigation, and it's revealing just how much was missed the first time. As the archaeologists sifted through the dirt that the original team had thrown back in, they found it was packed with tons of statue fragments. In his haste, Onefalch Richter and his crew had just cast them aside, not recognizing them as priceless artifacts. Today, those fragments are a treasure trove. Archaeologists can finally piece together the broken bodies of statues that have been sitting in museums for over a century, restoring them to their original glory. But even more exciting were the completely new types of statues they found. There were remains of small chariots, terracotta horsemen, and warrior figures. And most importantly, they found giant limestone feet. This was the missing piece of the puzzle. A famous terracotta figure called the Colossus of Tamassos was known from the site, but there was no proof of colossal stone statues until now. These larger-than-life limestone body parts proved that the sanctuary was once home to an entire army of stone giants. But it wasn't just statues. The dig unearthed a ton of smaller, more personal items that paint a picture of a vibrant, internationally connected holy site. They found beautiful marbled glass beads and, incredibly, Egyptian amulets made of faience. These little objects show that the sanctuary wasn't some isolated rural outpost. It was a hub, drawing in pilgrims and influences from across the Mediterranean, connecting Cyprus to the great civilizations of Greece and Egypt. 2 inscribed statue bases helped lock down the timeline. One was carved in the ancient local Cypro-syllabic script, rooting the sanctuary deep in the island's archaic past. Another, however, had an inscription in Greek, referencing the Ptolemies, the Hellenistic rulers of Egypt who controlled Cyprus centuries later. These inscriptions prove the sanctuary was active for an incredibly long time, flourishing from at least the 7th century BCE all the way through the Hellenistic period. This was a sacred site that commanded respect for hundreds of years. If you're finding this story of rediscovery as fascinating as I am, take a second to support the channel and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us bring you more incredible stories of lost history brought back to light. So who were the people who built this incredible place, and what did they believe? The sanctuary was dedicated to Apollo, one of the most important Greek gods known for music, prophecy, healing, and archery. But Apollo in Cyprus was different. The island has always been a cultural melting pot, and its gods were often a blend of Greek and ancient local traditions. This was what's known as a syncretic cult. The Greek Apollo was merged with a native Cypriot male god, creating a unique local version. In some parts of Cyprus, he was called Apollo Hylates, the god of the woods, linking the powerful Olympian to the sacred forests of the island. The cult at Frangissa, tied to the powerful nearby city of Tamassos, was at the heart of this unique religious life. Those hundreds of statues, big and small, weren't just art, they were prayers in stone. Each figure was a votive offering, a physical stand-in for a person asking for the god's favor. The newly revealed architecture, like a large peristyle courtyard, suggests this was more than just a place to drop off offerings. This was likely a space for grand ritual banquets and parties, where the followers of Apollo would come together to feast, celebrate, and strengthen their community bonds. And the discovery of artifacts from Egypt and the Aegean proves that this community was looking outward, confidently absorbing influences from abroad while staying distinctly Cypriot. This temple wasn't on the edge of the ancient world. It was a vital hub in a web of trade, culture, and belief that stretched for thousands of miles. The army of giants wasn't just guarding a temple, it was guarding a unique culture at the crossroads of civilization. This rediscovery is so much more than just a cool archaeological success story. It fundamentally changes our understanding of ancient Cyprus. For 140 years, we had a scattered collection of statues. Now, we have their home. We can see where they stood, how they were arranged, and what rituals happened around them. The fragments that were literally thrown away in 1885 have become the key to unlocking the site's true scale. This is why it all matters. It reveals the depth and complexity of ancient religion, showing us that worship was both a deeply personal and a very public affair. It gives us a tangible link to the people of ancient Tamassos, letting us understand their relationship with their god and the wider world. The inscriptions, the Egyptian amulets, and those colossal limestone feet all tell a new story, one of a vibrant, enduring, and globally connected Cypriot culture. This army of giants, once lost and reburied, is an incredible reminder that the story of our past is never truly finished. There are entire chapters still buried right under our feet, just waiting for the patient and the curious to find them. What we think we know is always being challenged, and in a quiet valley in Cyprus, a 2700-year-old secret is finally coming to light. If you want to explore more incredible stories of lost history, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And check out our video on the amazing Bronze Age discoveries that are also changing our understanding of ancient Cyprus. Thanks for watching.